Hey, welcome back everyone. It is now May 11th of 2022, and we're only getting closer to the official release of the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV show on May 27th, which by the way is going to be a big deal for a lot of Star Wars fans out there, as this is going to be done by Deborah Chow, the director, who, by the way, I think that everybody deserves to know is a true, passionate Star Wars fan, as much, if not more, than both Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni is. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. By the way, guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Now, we are currently in a very exciting time for the Star Wars universe, given that we have a lot of things happening between George, Jon, and Dave Filoni working on numerous Star Wars projects. The Ahsoka Tano series, as of right now, is already in principal photography. They are filming the early aspects of the TV show. Rosario Dawson's doing a lot of work already. Hayden Christensen is all sitting ready to do his scenes for June and July. So there's a lot of things happening with the overall structure of the Star Wars universe at hand. You know, given that we have Kenobi, Mando Season 3, Star Wars Andor, The Bad Batch Season 2 to look forward to, Celebration of course, this year is going to unveil new Star Wars shows and a lot more as well. So with that being said, we already know that Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are trying everything in their power to essentially revive a lot of elements from Star Wars Legends that were a big deal back in the 1990s and the early 2000s. So that's the overall end game right now, is that they want to make sure that a lot of Star Wars Legends is going to be very much significant in the new Disney canon moving ahead. Now, on top of all of this, alright, what's even all the more exciting has a lot to do with what Jon Favreau has planned for, of course, resetting a lot of aspects of the sequel trilogy movies and more. So now that Disney and Lucasfilm are beginning to develop new Star Wars TV shows and movies, creators Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are actively creating their new Star Wars projects that are to be announced at this year's and next year's Star Wars Celebration event. Now, it's described, however, that currently Jon Favreau is making some major changes to the Star Wars universe that will take fans by surprise, where one key change that Jon Favreau is set to make in the Star Wars canon has a lot to do with the new lore that will be made canon that is set to reset the sequel trilogy in a major way for the Star Wars community. Now, though Jon Favreau is set to introduce Mara Jade in the Mandoverse era in live-action form, Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are set to have a big plan on how to explain all of this during the sequels of why Mara Jade is no longer present. Now, it's described that new canon material is set to appear in 2023 that will completely change the sequel stories, where it was Ben Solo, aka Kylo Ren, who actually killed Mara Jade on the grounds of Luke Skywalker's Jedi temple that was at the time Luke Skywalker's wife that belonged to his Jedi training temple on the unknown world seen in the Book of Boba Fett and The Last Jedi. Now, this follows the comics where Darth Caedus poisoned and killed Mara Jade, even in the original stories, and that Jon Favreau is setting all of this up in the current canon to have a big impact on the sequel trilogy movies. This is all currently in the works over at Lucasfilm under Jon Favreau's supervision and demands. Now, let me just stop right here for 1 second. Now, we obviously know that Jon Favreau is trying to really change a lot of things about the sequel trilogy movies using the Ahsoka Tano TV series, which we're going to get into that a lot more in just a second. The thing about Mara Jade, alright, I know that a lot of fans never really liked the fact that she was killed even in Legends, and how they are going to be picking up on that in the new canon material moving forward. However, don't really have much of a big issue with that. I mean, to a degree, it may even explain why Luke Skywalker becomes so bitter in The Last Jedi and The Force Awakens and everything around those lines. But even at that, I still think that it's not really all that much of an excuse for Luke Skywalker to act the way that he acts in The Last Jedi, you know, years after the events. So it's going to be very tough to convince the fans, in my opinion, by even Favreau and Filoni's standards of trying to make things right. But this, for sure, changes a lot of lore and a lot of history between both Ben Solo and Luke Skywalker, and exactly where Luke Skywalker's mind is at, and this could very well lend a lot of credit to the novelization, I believe it was, of The Last Jedi, where Luke is actually imagining or thinking about a wife of his. And it was actually quite different because he was actually visualizing Cammy from Tatooine. So it seems like that they are trying to change things about the Star Wars lore drastically. Now, on top of that, alright, additionally, another canon piece that Favreau and Filoni are working on has a lot to do with the fact that Luke Skywalker's son will be in existence during the events of the sequels and will be in hiding somewhere during the sequel trilogy movies. Both Favreau and Filoni are focused on labeling this as canon by the spring of next year, and that it is going to be introduced more during the next Star Wars Celebration event. Now, on top of all of that as well, additionally, Favreau and Filoni are also set to give fans some massive changes to the sequel trilogy movies using the World Between Worlds in the Ahsoka Tano TV show. Many scenes that were shown to fans with episodes 7, 8, and 9 will be reworked and changed through Ahsoka's point of view during her time in this realm, changing aspects of the past, just as Ezra Bridger did in Star Wars Rebels. Dave Filoni is described to be working closely with Jon Favreau on all of this, and that the World Between Worlds is set to appear in another Star Wars TV show besides the Ahsoka Tano TV series for Disney+. Now, Favreau and Filoni are also working hard on the Ahsoka series that will include intense moments in the World Between Worlds that will in fact redo key scenes from both The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker that will drastically change the outcome of certain events in the sequel trilogy films by JJ and Ryan. This is something that Kathleen Kennedy is not happy about in the long run and in the slightest, where Disney CEO Bob Chapek, however, is also described to be very happy about Favreau's decision on all of this. So let's focus on one thing before we move on to the next. Now, the thing about Favreau really implementing the fact that Mara Jade was killed by Kylo Ren at that Jedi training temple, I think is very much a big move on Favreau and Filoni's part to further enhance Kylo Ren's, monstrous attitude and his attack on his uncle. You can see what they're trying to do. They're trying to make him out to be more of a monster during the events of when Ben Solo destroys the Jedi Temple and takes down his fellow Jedi students. I think that at the end of the day, this really kind of changes the game and really ups the stakes for why there's so much tension between both Ben Solo, Luke Skywalker, and Supreme Leader Snoke. So we obviously know that Jon and Dave are trying to do things like this that's going to change our perception of the sequel trilogy. The biggest question of all is it really necessary, or is it even enough to really make the fans like the sequel trilogy more? To be honest, I'm not so quite sure about that. What the movies are is exactly what the movies are. Sure, the Ahsoka Tano series is going to change the lore of those movies and exactly what happens, but this is Jon and Dave's way. This is their style. Using, of course, the Mandoverse and using all of these different Star Wars TV shows, they are going to be inserting a lot of retcons that are going to be placed in the sequel trilogy movies, and how it's going to change our point of view of episodes 7 through 9. So that's their overall attempt, and hopefully, and let's see exactly how the fans react to all of that. So overall, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.